are some of the tips you can give me to reverse the divorce trend going on in California and create those long, hot marriages that we want?
And dodging divorce, a marriage and sex therapist is here to give you some tips on how to make your relationship stronger than ever.
Serving all of San Diego, this is your Fox 5 News.
Okay, so the latest statistics suggest California's divorce rate is up to 75%. Are you kidding me right now?
Is that right?
Could that even be possible? So when you hear that, you may be wondering, are marriages just plain doomed out there?
So we have Todd Creager here, marriage and sex therapist, and also author of The Long, Hot Marriage. He says the stats are really a call to action and is here with some tips on dodging divorce. 75% seems hard to believe.
It really is.
It's actually hard for me to believe. I was shocked. I mean, I knew it was over 50.
Yeah.
But it is high.
So in your opinion, what's going on? Why is it so high, you think?
You know, it's high because we all tend to protect ourselves. We just protect ourselves from psychological harm. So, look, we in the honeymoon period of a relationship, there's no pain. Everyone's doing great, everything. But once that 6 months ends or whenever it is, we have pain, and we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have we seen mom say to dad, "I'm so angry at you," and dad leans over and says, "Really, honey? Tell me more about that." You know, we don't see that, so we have no clue.
Yeah.
And that leads to this continuous disconnect.
Okay, we have some viewer questions that we wanted to run past you, and maybe you can kind of enlighten us, if you will.
Sure.
Well, let's listen to our first one.
With California's divorce rate at 75%, does that mean that the institution of marriage is doomed?
Wow, doomed is such a, I mean, is it?
No. Look, I've been doing this 30 years.
Yeah.
I'm more optimistic now than I was 30 years ago.
Good.
So there must be something working. The thing is, if we do things the way our parents did it and our grandparents, we are in trouble. It's true, we're doomed. But we don't have to.
Yeah.
You know, we have the ability to be creative. We could think new thoughts. We could say new things. We could do new things. And that's what we talk about. My book, The Long, Hot Marriage, I talk about it. People read it. There's hope.
Yeah.
It's a call to action, like you said.
Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our second viewer question.
You know, if happier marriages are possible, how come Californians have not been able to create these wonderful marriages?
What's wrong with our state, he wants to know.
Well, you know, I think we have choices now. Our parents and grandparents didn't. So, again, we don't know how to communicate. It really starts with communication. And since we don't know how to communicate, we disconnect. We don't connect emotionally through our pain. We start to fight or flight. And once we fight, we have these fight or flight reactions. You know, there's lots of ways people fight or flight, right?
Yeah.
They yell, they bicker, they shut down, they watch they do Farmville on Facebook. There's all kinds of ways people do it now. And it just doesn't work. People get bored, boredom sets in.
When you say a lot of choices now that our grandparents didn't have, what do you mean by choices? Choices in terms of what?
Psychologically,
yeah.
I think there was some kind of edict. You stay married. And even though, you know, people do have parents and grandparents that divorced, it was much more taboo. Now, it's not.
That seems like what you're saying is that back then people respected the institution of marriage more than they do now.
But I don't see it as a bad thing.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be in unhappy marriages. I don't think we need to be in unhappy marriages. I think the answer isn't to not divorce. The answer is to make better marriages. And so, again, the 75% divorce rate makes us say we have to wake up. We have to be open. We need to learn. We need to read books. We need to apply what we've learned. We need help. You know? We need help.
That's why we have your book.
We can't do it on our own.
We have a third question for you. Listen.
Does the way partners communicate their emotional pain to each other lead to marital unhappiness and ultimate divorce?
It leads to, again, you know, because we get bored, we get disconnected, we get angry, we get frustrated. Our libido is tied to our emotionality. So the more we don't feel, women first, typically, right? Women will be the ones that'll say, you know, I'm not turned on. Why aren't they turned on? Because they're lonely, they're disconnected. They don't feel like the man knows them. So these fight or flight, I mean, there are ways to be creative. We need to develop emotional muscle. In order to stay connected with our partner, we need to learn how to listen.
So let's talk about that. Give us some tips to create a long, happy marriage.
Well, first of all, like, developing muscle means that, you know, just like you go to the gym, you develop muscle, we have to develop emotional muscle. So if my partner says, I'm really angry at you, my first reaction might be panic or righteous indignation. Instead, take a breath or two and say, tell me more about that. Is that hard to do? Yes. Is it going to reap great benefits? Absolutely, absolutely. So we need to be able to connect through our pain. That's the first tip. We need to be able to do that. We need to stop expecting to always please our partner.
What else?
That's hard for guys to do, though. I mean, in a perfect world...
It's hard for anybody to do.
In a perfect world, somebody will tell you, I'm really angry with you right now. And then in a perfect world, that person will respond by saying, tell me your... But that's not reality.
It's not our reality.
So how do we get to reality when you have a guy in a marriage that won't communicate, the woman and maybe won't... How do we make it work?
Let me jump in here, because I think, in my opinion, you tell me what you think.
Who wrote
the book? In my opinion, it's how you approach the other person too.
Right.
So if I approach you, I'm ticked off at you and I'm throwing stuff and I'm doing whatever, you're going to come at me defensive and mad. If I come at you with, hey, can we talk for just a second? Here's what's kind of bothering me. Is that part of it, how you approach the other person?
I think about it like playing catch. If I throw a ball to you at 100 miles an hour, you're not going to catch it, right? But if I throw it to you, if I call you a name, you're not going to listen. If I share my feeling, I know this is difficult for us men.
Yeah.
It's difficult for women. It's even more difficult for us men. But when I say to men, look, you know, think of me as your sex bookie. I'll help you have more sex.
What now?
I mean, then they're willing to do that work. You know, we got to think about it. We got to act in ways that get us what we want, not what we don't want, and we could do it.
It's possible.
It's a little uncomfortable at first.
What else? Give us another top tip.
Romance.
Okay.
You know, romance is very important. Romance is nothing more than uplifting the energy of your partner. It's really it.
Yeah.
If I set up a 2-week vacation to Tahiti, that's romance. Sending my wife a loving text, I love you, I like your legs, whatever it is.
Hey-o.
All right, sorry, but
no,
I'm a sex therapist.
Hold on.
But that's good too. I mean, that's romance.
I like your legs.
I agree 100%. It doesn't have to be this big. I think people get intimidated because they think it's this big thing, this dinner and the candlelight. It doesn't have to be that way. It can just be a sweet little note.
Absolutely.
So for guys who are knuckleheads, you literally, this actually, send a text message to their wife right now, and it's all, I like your legs. I
like your legs,
comma,
great.
beautiful. And see what happens.
And put it in your phone as an alert. At 7 p.m., I'm going to send a text, I like your leg. I mean, and use technology. Use technology.
For me, it's more like 7 a.m., Doc.
Look, us guys aren't bad. We just don't think about it.
Okay, what else? This is good. This is good stuff.
I'm taking notes, literally.
See our partner in the best possible light. For example, we tend to lock in perceptions. So if I look at you as unreliable, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You'll stay unreliable. If I look at you as a bad listener, you'll stay a bad listener. I'll probably talk to you in a way that guarantees you'll be a bad listener.
Yeah.
So it seems kind of weird, but to treat our partner not based on history. It's almost like pretend, but we can bring out what the potential of our partner if we see the best in our partner as opposed to the worst.
And then affirm them with that. If they do something that you like, affirm them. And they'll do it, and they'll do it more often.
Affirmation. Get excited.
Look in the mirror.
If they clean the kitchen and you say thank you for cleaning the kitchen, they'll do it more often.
I'm smart enough. That's like a trained dog. What are you doing to the poor man at the house? We got to clean dishes now.
It works. Thank you.
Here's my thing. I cannot believe that 75% statistic. That is shocking to me.
That's high to me, too.
Yeah.
It's high, though.
Man,
whatever it is, it's high.
It's all about, look, you got to have a good foundation to start with. That's all I'm saying. And then you take it from there.
True that.
Where's your... Is this Erica's book? Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is Todd Creager's book. It's called The Long, Hot Marriage. We are not short on opinion around here, Todd, as you probably figured that out. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Little text message and things like that go a long way.
Text right now. Text your loved one. Right